Uh-huh. Yeah. You gotta choose your side. You gotta choose your side. It's do or die. I said it's do or die. I said it's conflict in all areas, nigga. You choose the side. You can win or you can lose, nigga. It's do or die. Energy don't lie, it just testify for what they saying. I just look them deep into their eyes, going against the God in me. Now that's suicide. Higher self, higher level, higher wealth. To move like this, you gotta put your pride up on yourself. They say money is power, but knowledge way stronger.
Hey, what you say is true. The Shaolin and the Wu-Tang could be dangerous. Do you think your Wu-Tang sword can defeat me?
They say money is power, but knowledge way stronger. My soul pure gold, so I live way longer. My mind think righteous, yeah, my bloodline chosen. My energy is positive, words unspoken, I'm so illuminated. I shine brighter than Illuminati. Walking on water, now they really know I'm God body. Gifted from birth, so the life I face is hard body. Had so much love in my heart, they had to apply pressure. Now I'm a fine diamond, yeah. Said I'm a fine diamond.
And the Wu-Tang sword style.
No matter how hard they try, I find myself in divine timing. Now they follow what I say like my name Simon. Led the chosen ones to victory in divine timing. The time is near, the signs are clear. 144, activation is here. We rise in the vibration with no fear. Oh, the Thundercats we all hear. And now it just don't seem fair. It just don't seem fair.
Welcome, welcome, welcome. Welcome to Friday Night's Reactions. You already know this thing want to cut up, act up. Come on, come on. How y'all doing this good Friday night? Friday night. Are you feeling all right? Yes, your girl Jazzy. It's Friday Night Reaction. There we go. There we go. Now she want to work. She want to act right. How's everybody doing? Everybody. How's everybody doing? Hey! Oh boy, I like Friday Night Reactions. I get a chance to talk my junk about whatever is on here. You know, like I said, I don't never really take a look at whatever I'm going to talk about. I just scroll, see what's going on, whatever is the latest, and then I put my 2 cents on it. My 2 cents in it. So, hey, it's your girl Jazzy, episode 34. Hey, we tugging right along, right along, right along, right along. Don't know what's going on in the world of YouTube. I'm quite sure there's some craziness going on. Y'all know I've been following the David situation. I have no idea what's going on with that. I only come on, check it out on Fridays to see what's going on. I really don't be having the time during the week to be just messing around on here. But let's see what we got. And is there any updates? Any newness? We got something a day ago. Okay, look like Harvey Wine. TMZ, he talking about something about a day ago. I know I don't want to hear the same story over and over again, so I hope they got something new for us. I hope they really got something new for us. It's Friday night. Let's see what they talking about. All right.
Want the fastest working
Of course it's
GLP-1
gonna play me
for half the price? Roe now offers
Probably need to do what I
FDA-approved
need to do.
Information we've gotten recently is that the cops have the rental home security videos from where David was living. They've officially collected it and I've got it and are probably reviewing it right now. So LAPD is sitting on a potential gold mine in the David investigation. Surveillance videos from the singer's Hollywood Hills rental home that could reveal whether Celeste Rivas was there prior to her mysterious death. TMZ has learned cops seized all the footage from multiple security cameras at the house last month while executing a search warrant. So here we have one camera at the main door, then one looking over the garages, and there was apparently more in the back garden. So if David killed Celeste in his house and then dragged her out the door or went through the garage or even went into the back garden, CCTV would have captured that. Even if some of the lights went on, they would have caught it on camera. So I think this is the breakthrough we need, because he had to kill her in the house, right? Well, maybe
They still trying to make it say that it was him. Of course, if they dragged her out with all of those cameras, I don't know. I just feel like LAPD is waiting for the smoking gun. That's what they're doing.
Maybe he didn't kill her in the house. Maybe he killed her in the car.
Yeah,
but let's say he killed her in the house. He had to take her out.
This is Friday Night Reactions, where I do reactions, puts my 2 cents on whatever videos is that we come across. I've been following the David story. And I never know what's going on until I come Friday and check it out. So this is the latest video that they got. I just said if they gonna be doing some repeating, I don't want to see it. But so here, let's finish tuning in and see what we got. What's the update?
Of the house, which would have been caught on CCTV, unless they somehow disabled it or they covered up the cameras or they broke the cameras. Because the thing is, if it was clear on CCTV he was carrying her body or he was carrying a black bag at like 3 a.m, then wouldn't have they arrested him already? If it was clear and obvious on CCTV he killed her and he carried her body to his car and then drove the car away and then walked back and it was all caught on camera, he would be in jail right now, but he's not. So it makes me think, maybe the CCTV didn't capture anything, and that's why he's still free, over a month since it all happened. Now, the owner of the rental home David was living in hired a private investigator. This means that once this whole case is over, we should get some clear and obvious answers from...
Wow. So the owner hired a private investigator. Wow, this is getting deep. I guess he's saying, what's taking LAPD so long to figure out what happened to the young lady?
This private investigator, because the police, they may not release any information. As you know, they're the police, it's not their job to give out facts to the public. However, if this private investigator does a good job and then their case ends, he can reveal all the information to us at the end. So the owner of the Hollywood Hills home David was renting has hired a private eye to get to the bottom of what happened inside the house, because LAPD has not publicly released any answers 6 whole weeks after Celeste Rivas' decomposing body was found in...
Well, we know why 6 weeks is taking so long for them to I don't know. This is just my opinion. Allegedly, when you're a runaway, and I don't know, I just don't feel like they treated very significantly. Had she not been a runaway, had she just been a young lady, that good girl in school, no troubles at home, we might be having a different outcome by now. But that's allegedly. We're going to see what happens. I do understand the type of lawyer that he has. They have to come correct if they want to still win this case, because remember, the defense has to prove their case. Not the defense, my bad. The state has to prove their case. All David's team has to do is reasonable doubt. If they can throw some reasonable doubt on them jurors, and them jurors get reasonable doubt, David's team doesn't have to prove anything other than reasonable doubt. So, LAPD is definitely making sure that when they come correct, because this young man hired him some real high end lawyers. I believe the lawyers come from Interscope, label. So yeah, they some high end lawyers.
And David's Tesla. Here are some fans' reaction to the tapes being officially seized. So LAPD keeps this info private for a reason. Now the person who drove that Tesla is absolutely sure he's caught on camera. But again, that's the thing. Was the murder done inside the house? Was the Tesla parked in front of the house when the murder was committed? Because I feel like whoever did it, they must be quite dumb if they walked out of the house with Celeste's body in a bag when they live there and they know there's CCTV all around the house. This is a case based on technological evidence from these tapes to the Tesla to the Discord, etc. Hopefully they're taking their time to go through all of it carefully. Now I think
I mean, I wonder if anybody believes they can get this kid on circumstantial evidence. They would have to have a real strong, solid case. And not for nothing, the type of lawyers he has is not going to allow them to use his craft. If they can keep his music and his videos, because I mean, if you have seen any of this or any of his music, I don't know the young man other than till I came to this situation. I've never heard of him, never heard his music, but some of these videos that I've been seeing in the last couple of weeks pretty much tells the story. And if they can, if his attorneys can get that type of stuff kept out, then he just might get away. I know they got a heck of
this
a
is why
movie.
he's not been arrested yet, or why the case is moving so slow, because they've got to go through all his Twitter, his Instagram, through Celeste's Twitter and Instagram, her messages, all their messages together, Discord, email, CCTV, whatever, and they've got to source it officially from the apps or from the websites, which might take a little bit. So some people are saying it might be tampered. Hopefully this starts some resolution for the case. I'm sure it will take quite a bit of time to officially review all the footage. This only makes it harder. Imagine a lawyer accusing the homeowner of tampering with the footage, especially in the day of AI. Pretty sure they could verify if it's been tampered with. They can prove he doesn't have access. I don't see issue with the landlord. Now, other people in David's circle, that might be an issue. Because if you guys didn't know already, the homeowner doesn't actually have access to the CCTV. He told this to us in a previous interview that he gives it all to the people that are living in the house and they have access to the security footage and the security company. So the homeowner can't see it. He said that he doesn't want to have access to it so the people don't think he's spying on them, which I guess makes sense, but that means they have access to potentially delete it. However,
you are not shadow banned. You're probably just guessing how to grow on YouTube. It's not that your videos are bad.
Oh, bro. I'm presuming they have backups and stuff like that, so it shouldn't be a big deal. LA has public traffic cams you can view. There are like 29 in the area where that house is. Streets, stoplights, etc. They have footage. They're just linking up the missing timelines. So yeah, even if they don't capture anything from David's house with the CCTV, the neighbors have ring cameras, there's traffic lights, probably CCTV in the streets, etc.
You would believe somebody got something, but I just believe LAPD is looking for the smoking gun. They don't want to drop the ball on this one.
Etc. So surely the neighbors had to capture something on their cameras. That means no one was seen on camera, either bad quality or they can't identify the person due to quality or nighttime vision. Or the person.
I'm good on that. Let's see what this one's talking about. Who is the Katie Scott girl? I just heard about that. It's Katie Scott. Let's see, here we go.
But I will say this, there are some things that, and I'm talking physical evidence that was at that house that is, there could have been greater plans as far as getting rid of her. And it's scary, sadistic stuff. And that's what
you won't believe what the hell you are about to hear. This is insane. And David is going to jail 1,000,000%. But bruh, the look of shock y'all gonna see is like that first time you walked in on your parents doing it.
I thought this was going to be a tragic overdose, which it very well still could be. And they made a bad decision because they didn't want to expose a potential relationship and put her in this Tesla. And then maybe he thought he could get somebody to get rid of that car. And they were just like, no, I'm not doing it. And just got left there. But I will say this, there are some things that, and I'm talking physical evidence that was at that house that is, there could have been greater plans as far as getting rid of her. And it's scary, sadistic stuff. And that's why we're trying to learn more about that. I wish I could say more, but for obvious reasons I can't. But it doesn't have to do with how she died, but maybe how they were planning on ultimately getting rid of her, and how maybe that Tesla was just a holding spot at time, and things just, their timing was just off as far as getting this done. But there's a few things that were just like, will blow your mind.
Has anyone from David's team, management, legal, anybody reached out to you or your client?
I know that my client's been in touch with his manager, but only for the purpose of the lease, because they did ask to terminate the lease. And I believe the other manager that technically was the owner of the red Tesla, I think was in touch with him just because they needed access to the house to get that vehicle and stuff out. Because that's another thing that I think could be key in this, is that there's only one key to that house, and who had that, and who had access to it, and who was in it. Because we also have evidence that while David was on tour at the time between the Tesla being found and the search warrant being served, David was on tour, but somebody was in that house. And there was actually a report made, not with police, but that homeowner association has a robust private security company, and we've gotten videos from them and reports. And so who had that key is probably the same person that, had access to the Tesla.
Do you know who that person is? And do you believe that is the person that moved the Tesla?
So I definitely know who moved that Tesla on that late July before they went on tour.
Wow. So this crazy. How they know? How he know so much? And see, this is the kind of stuff that ruins a case. I get it. Everybody wants to be famous, YouTube, Instagram famous, sharing the be the first to share the news. But when you start putting this kind of stuff out there and tainting whatever, how can you find some real good jurors? How could you find some jurors that's not been tainted by this kind of stuff?
I can't say who the person, I can't say but I don't know who exactly was in that house, because it's just a report, but there's video, but you can't make a person out. But somebody was in the house, and being that there's only one key, it's like, okay, who had access at that time? So is it the same person that moved the Tesla? Was another last part of the plan about to go in motion as far as getting rid of her body? I don't know.
Oh, nah. It gets way worse. I mean, y'all about to find out some shit where you gonna sit back and go, bruh, hell nah. Listen, Law and Crime blows TMZ all the way out the water with this shit that you're about to hear. Make sure you hit that like button and comment your thoughts right now. Man, every comment is going to be approved, so don't worry about it. Say what you're going to say. Don't say nothing too crazy. But let's continue on. Roll it.
And what the status of that is. And then also, this is troublesome when you learn something like this. All of a sudden you're thrown into this, and he feels absolutely horrible for Celeste's family. And he's like, if there's anything that involves, in and around my house that could help, then I want to discover that. And I'll tell you that there have been things that we've learned and we've turned right over to LAPD, but we think there's significant, things that could help.
Do you mean that there might be evidence that a crime was committed at that house?
Not so much a crime, no. And I'll just be honest with you. We don't have any evidence that anything happened to Celeste at that house, but there is definitely evidence that we've collected that helps the timeline. We now have a much better understanding of when that Tesla arrived at that final parking spot. I'll tell you, I do have surveillance from different houses in the neighborhood showing Tesla being moved. So things like that, and I'm not even saying that LAPD didn't have that. I'm sure they did, but we wanted to make sure. And and we did some work on the up-resing the footage to find out who was driving the vehicle, and there are some other items that were found at the house.
So let me ask you this. If you see when the car was parked there, have you seen anything to indicate that Celeste's body was transferred into that car after the car was parked there? Or in other words, do you believe that her body was in that car the minute it was parked in the location it was ultimately towed from?
So I'll say I have no evidence of a body being transferred before or after. There's no evidence of that at all. But I will say, when it was moved to that position, it was already like that. So that car had not been used in a very long time. It was super dirty, caked on dirt. I'll tell you, this was in late July. So it's bizarre because we also got media that the car was used a lot. David even spoke about it in Instagram videos. He took it to a detail shop and stuff like that. And then all of a sudden, the very beginning of the year, that car, something happens, and that car's doesn't show up anymore. It's not used. It seems to disappear. And then that red Tesla learned, which we didn't know until the search warrant was served, that there's a red Tesla in the garage, which I can tell you was at least on February 1st.
It's simple. There's evidence in that car.
Right.
There's evidence. There's evidence of her being there. There's evidence probably of maybe some vomit, maybe some blood, maybe anything. The second car was bought because they were trying to figure out what the hell to do with the first one.
car, right?
From everything that we learned so far, this right here is not going to be what everybody wants it to be, unfortunately. Let's continue on.
Do you have the precise date of when that car, the one with the Tesla, with Celeste body inside, when it was left there? Do you know the specific date of when it was left in Hollywood Hills?
I believe so. I believe it. July, late July, very late July.
So one thing that we've heard, and this is something we've talked about, is the LAPD has seized footage from the rental property, multiple security cameras around the property. There are even reports of a smashed Ring camera on the ground. Yeah. And according to TMZ, police seized all the footage from multiple security cameras at the house last month when they executed the search warrant. TMZ described that footage as a, quote, potential gold mine for investigators. And the question becomes, did you see anyone coming into or leaving that property after the Tesla was there? So after the Tesla with Celeste's body inside is there, can you tell us you saw people coming in and out of that property before before the search warrant?
No, not from the time that the Tesla was left. So from the time the Tesla was left there, he literally immediately started the tour. There was a tour bus that was leased, and I'll tell you that Tesla was moved and literally a bus departed for tour.
Okay. You talked about things that might have been taken from the house, things that you handed over to LAPD. Is there anything you can share with us about what that information may be?
One thing that you just brought up, and I guess which TMZ reported on, the security system. The house has got a very sophisticated security system, not just with cameras, but with sensors and all types of things. It all records to a DVR. And for privacy reasons, the owner, when he leased the house, said, this is the system that's in the house, and you can use whatever functions you want on it. That's not something that then the owner could access. So we don't know if the cameras were enabled or not enabled. But if they were, it wouldn't just be cameras. It would be, we'd know anytime anybody came and went from the house, anytime anybody opened a window, everything, if they kept it like it was. But we don't know. LAPD came in and took that whole DVR. They took the entire system, which you would expect. And I've talked to the security company that installed the system, and they've told me, how it was set up. We think it was probably running because there's limited alerts that.
I'm glad to see that there's an independent investigator, though, that keeps LAPD on their P's and Q's. That keeps LAPD doing what they supposed to be doing, if you will. Because if there's somebody else investigating, then, it's going to be hard to not do your job.
The security guy can see, which is stuff like if there's a major failure. And there was a low power failure warning that triggered right when they were executing the search warrant. And I think that's when they unplugged the system. So there's reason to believe that the system was running. Whether the cameras were covered or not, I don't know. I can tell you that some of the smoke sensors in the house were covered, and that's probably because maybe I don't know what they were doing in the house. So the cameras might have been covered as well.
Then things get even more trickier because now we got to look back at the freaking tour date. So if you look right here, right, August 5th in Del Mar, California. Just want y'all to know that part. Because he says, hey, bro, that car got left there in mother freaking late July. Interesting. So now we're looking at the tour date. We got to think to ourselves, well, bro, that car officially got moved around that time. David might be massively meticulous because not only does that happen, the January thing of where she potentially died, well, it turns out the boy ended up dropping the damn song, and the craziest thing is the damn lyrics. Yeah.
Good point. The only thing.
Let's run the last leg of this because
listen. The only thing about his craft is it may not be admissible in the court of law. So, his music is the smoking gun. If his music was allowed to be used, he's done.
I think I know what happened. With only the evidence that's provided, of course. Let's go.
Generation, and they're on places like Discord, and you don't even know their real identities. I put myself out there, and those people do come to me, and a tremendous amount of people have come to me, and I've learned a lot. Now, listen, a lot of it's circumstantial, right? But there are people that are directly in his orbit, and there are people that have photos and videos, and we've gotten a lot of photos and videos from inside the home itself. So we can put people at certain dates and times at the house, and there's a lot of them. It's in the thousands.
Do you know if Celeste was ever at that property?
So, what we recovered, we don't have any of her at that property. We have pictures of her and that were taken by David, we assume, because it's not on a camera phone, but these photos are on a regular camera at different locations. And it really makes me think that it's likely she had another place she was staying. I can tell you that there was a lot of time spent towards downtown LA. And I'll say the last photo that we have of Celeste is January 2nd, 2025.
Okay, now that's significant because we were wondering when, she was last seen alive. There was that surveillance footage of her seemingly running away from her neighborhood.
And that was September of 24, I believe. So we didn't have anything. We were like, where was this girl in 2025? But we do have a photo of her on July 2nd, early in the morning, July 2nd, 2025.
Has anyone, and just to be clear, you don't know more information about when she died, right?
No, okay. I don't have any information of how she died or when exactly she died. Listen, investigations are always moving. And right now I tend to believe it happened a while ago, a long time ago. And I think January, February, things changed. I mean, you can see it in the photos and everything. And I also think when I first started looking at this case, I'm very much an Occam's razor type of person where I think things are a lot easier than people try to make them sometimes, especially online, into these big things. And I thought this was going to be a tragic overdose, which it very well still could be. And they made a bad decision because they didn't want to expose a potential relationship and put her in this Tesla. And then maybe he thought he could get somebody to get rid of that car. And they were just like, no, I'm not doing it. And just got left there. But I will say this, there are some things that, and I'm talking physical evidence that was at that house that is, there could have been greater plans as far as getting rid of her. And it's scary, sadistic stuff.
Date of when that car, the one with the Tesla, with Celeste body inside, when it was left there? Do you know the specific date of when it was left in the Hollywood Hills?
I believe so. I believe it, late July, very late July.
I'm starting to believe that the owner really wanted to do the right thing.
Absolutely.
I'm just of the belief that the owner really wanted to do the right thing and provide the family with stuff that police was not telling them. And on top of that, bro, let's just be fair. This is a case where it makes national news, but down there, bro, national news is every day. You have raids with organizations and all this crap. You have violence going on. You have theft going on. You got people trying to start fires. It is so much stuff that they even had to admit that they're backed up as far as this young lady getting justice. And that's why they went ahead and gave the grace period and said a couple of months. I believe now more than ever that that girl died. She OD'd, bro. And I ain't gonna hold you, and it's gonna sound messed up, bro, because she was only 14 years old. I think the little young girl was a party girl, bro. There are a lot of ladies who are watching this, and they can recall their first time they done took some drugs and all this crap and how it elevated, and they went in and started doing more. If you care to say you were one of them and you get it, you can type that right now. It is what it is. Do I think that it's wrong? Hell yeah. Do I think David deserves to go to jail? Yes. But I don't think he should be the only one. My biggest issue with things like this is the individuals who allow it to go on that are perfectly fine with this shit. Just because David was your cash cow, just because David was technically paying the bills, just because of that shit doesn't make it right. I believe everybody had a hand in it. And
Absolutely, his whole team. He's right. Especially the person that did the renting of the home knew that David and this girl had a relationship. Now, the fact that they want to try to play that they didn't know her age, somebody knew something. They knew that she was underage. There's evidence that they knew. There's evidence that the parents even knew. Hush money is sad that hush money just further put her daughter in jeopardy, a position, because allegedly, I honestly believe the mother knew and you know, Davy was their ticket out, if you will. So, oh, I didn't need to do that.
And all this crap. You have violence going on. You have theft going on. You got people trying to start fires. It is so much stuff that they even had to admit that they're backed up as far as this young lady getting justice. And that's why they went ahead and gave the grace period instead of a couple of months. I believe now more than ever that that girl died. She OD'd, bro. And I ain't gonna hold you, and it's gonna sound messed up, bro, because she was only 14 years old. I think the little young girl was a party girl, bro. There are a lot of ladies who are watching this, and they can recall their first time they done took some drugs and all this crap and how it elevated, and they went in and started doing more. If you care to say you were one of them and you get it, you can type that right now. It is what it is. Do I think that it's wrong? Hell yeah. Do I think David deserves to go to jail? Yes. But I don't think he should be the only one.
I believe she was a party girl too. I mean, you know, in the world of entertainment, they do all those psychotropic type chemicals, and I don't know that she OD'd. I don't know. I don't know. I don't pick up that she OD'd. I think something sinister allegedly happened far past the drugs. Drugs was involved, no doubt.
My biggest issue with things like this is the individuals who allow it to go on that are perfectly fine with this shit. Just because David was your cash cow, just because David was technically paying the bills, just because of that shit doesn't make it right. I believe everybody had a hand in it. And I think and I want to believe that David has basically started orchestrating mastermind and stuff. Do I think that he intended for that little girl to die, OD and all that shit? No. I think more than likely now we're going to find out, hey, bruh, that young lady basically died. They stuffed her ass in a freezer, and it's probably going to get revealed eventually that she was sitting in a damn freezer for a minute, and they finally figured out exactly what the hell to do. Once they figured it out, then that's that. Now, there are going to be certain things that are going to look a certain way, of course, but it just is what it is. That's why I'm thinking to myself, like, damn, how could it sit there for that while? Because it was, I don't want to say cold. There was a certain point in July where it wasn't hot as hell. And then they went through a damn heat spell. And then that's what ended up happening more towards that August, the end of August stuff. So now, bruh, I ain't gonna hold you. Do I think that he killed her on purpose? No. Do I think that he killed her? Yeah. With drugs? Yes. Now, it
wasn't. I believe it could have been been an accident, unless he was so sadistic that, you know, they were indulging in that satanic type sex, and you know, just and doing the drugs at the same time. I don't know, but I don't think that they released that there was any foul play sexually at all. But let's hear.
There still be parts where her body is chopped up and all this shit. Hell yeah. It's going to depend upon the way the bone either broke or it was cut. If you break something, there are ridges. There's just natural ridges that come with when you break things. Some of you guys want to, oh no, nah, Seti Nash, take a piece of paper, get 2 pieces of paper, do this at home, take 1 piece of paper, rip it, you'll see the ridges. Take some scissors, cut it. You'll see it's a clean cut, no ridges. I believe that if they're able to show that, that's going to be what happens. Now, some of y'all will go, well, Nash, you're telling me that the bones could break that certain way? What about if they cut it with like a saw and anything like that? Yeah, but the cuts, the way that the cuts are, it's still going to have indicators of interest. You know, we call it IOI over here, but we gain like 100 to 200 new subscribers every day, so I do have to put some people up on game. Well,
wow.
Bro, you're done already?
Yeah, bro.
How?
I hired Motion to hire AI employees.
AI employees?
Yeah.
We'll see what happens, man. We will see what happens. It's undeniable that this moron was with this little
I'm
girl.
so surprised
he
that they have
We
not.
might owe David an apology.
Who the fuck is David?
David, man.
He's been gone for a while.
Where the fuck you been in the tunnel, nigga?
I told you he was locked up. You thought I was joking.
I'ma
Don't
keep
never
it
know
real
none of
with
these
you.
niggas.
Oh, you was locked up? Free you in advance, nigga. He was gone for like 6 episodes. Don't know the stories. Don't want to talk about his time away.
Yo, who the fuck is David?
David is an R&B singer. He's been just all over the news.
What they talking about?
He was he was accused.
Why you do that to people?
What?
Stop. We don't catch it in real time. No, I don't. Ish probably do. Like, he ignore you. Me, I gotta go back and watch. You get a lot of shit off. Can you just go straight?
Stay focused. Anyway,
Okay.
David is an emerging singer, well known on the internet. His girlfriend went missing.
Yes.
Oh, yeah.
She was found in a car, Tesla in California. The car was owned by him.
Yeah.
They later found a tattoo written on both of their fingers, and there's some other things that tie them together romantically. While she was underage, there were certain people in the media suggesting that because of it was the fact that it was his car and their relationship, and the fact that she was missing for over a year, some people suggested that he might be guilty of killing her. I was those people, to be clear.
And me.
And, yeah, right.
All of us. Everybody.
And the rest of the people who could read.
Allegedly.
Allegedly. He's alleged to have done this. I smell suspicion. Over time, the police never picked him up, and we were like, why would they do that? The most recent reports are suggesting that he's not a suspect, that the police are saying he is not named as a suspect. So some people are saying, y'all got to walk it.
Of course not. He's not named. They can't name him. They don't want to name him. He's got high-end lawyers. They're not going to name him unless they can really pin this. They got to come with smoking evidence in order to be able to charge this kid. Had he not had them kind of lawyers, he would have been picked up, trust me, and sitting in a cell somewhere.
Back now. You got to apologize to him. I'm saying, let's just wait. The police didn't say he didn't do it. They didn't say they ruled him out. They said he's not a suspect. That can happen for lots of reasons, including they're still watching you to see
if you do some stupid shit.
Yeah, or lead us to more bodies, lead us to more evidence, etc. So I'm not assuming it, but
the police are liars.
Yeah, you said it a lot simpler.
The police are liars. The police are lying.
And they'll rock you to sleep.
He is
Absolutely.
a suspect. There's so much wink, wink, circumstantial evidence that they have to be very, very careful with how they collect.
Tell them. I agree. There's plenty of circumstantial evidence. And if they got enough and they good enough, they can pin it on him. But again, he got some top lawyers. And all his side got to do is reasonable doubt. You don't have to prove that he didn't do it. You just put some reasonable doubt in the juror's mind.
Their evidence, where they get it from, and they have to be able to prove a murder.
That part.
They have to be able to prove a murder, not what looks like a murder.
Right.
So they raided his house. They raided some other houses. They've already put into effect things that say they believe him to be a suspect. But I'm sure there's a loud public outcry that says, why hasn't this person been arrested yet? And the best way to quiet that is to say he is no longer a person of interest or a suspect or whatever they said. But if you believe that, then I got a bridge to sell you on this street. Not even far. Yeah, no, he's 100% a suspect.
That part.
Yeah, and rightfully so. And every week this story gets stranger and stranger.
Yeah.
Every time I think there's no more that can make it strange, something else happened that make it strange.
That's right.
Like apparently he was running around with a girl that looked exactly like the Celeste girl after she supposedly had vanished. So
The kid is very meticulous and the kid is very crafty. Trust me. Yo, listen, if he planned this out, man, listen, and not for nothing, made music about it. So the kid is very crafty. There's no doubt about it, because there's nowhere in the world you found a girl that looked just like the girl in your trunk. Trying to, too much circumstantial evidence. And I'm telling you, if they good enough, they can get them on it.
timelines are funny now. Remember last week or 2 weeks ago I said there was some other singer nigga that they said was David. So there are facts or things lingering that could just muddy the waters. And the girl really do look like her. So, I mean, you introducing body doubles, stunt doubles, There's a lot of shit going on here. So
Body doubles is crazy.
I totally expect the police to take their time with is what will be somewhat of a high profile case.
Yeah.
Right.
That means all eyes on them.
Yeah, you can't fuck it up.
That means all eyes on them.
Can't fuck it up.
Even how they gather the information and the evidence and all of that shit could be, if they do it wrong, it could not be
Throw the
presented
whole
as
shit out.
evidence and
Yeah.
fuck it up the case.
He got
And
good
what I was
lawyers.
reading right now, the only thing that they could do is the concealment of the body. And that charge is a misdemeanor out there.
Yeah. That's like abuse of a corpse. All those kind of.
It's like, that ain't what we on. So we need to take our time so we can get this nigga the right way. I think
If he did it, we do
allegedly.
want to say that he's innocent until proven guilty. He deserves a presumption of innocence. It looks mighty suspicious to me, but he deserves a fair trial. He deserves everything that everybody else gets.
That's like some American Constitution shit that we have to say, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
But people pick and choose what they say about.
All right, let's try this. Let me use me. If there happened to be a dead body in the trunk of a vehicle that was registered to me, if I didn't do it, I know someone that did.
Right.
It's involved somehow.
Somehow. I loaned my key one day to somebody who had ill intention. Somehow in this.
Right.
In other words, he's saying that David knows what happened to him. Absolutely, he knows. Absolutely, he knows. He know. He know that whether he did it or not, if he didn't do it, he knows who did it.
I am involved.
You got some explaining
I'm
to
just
do.
trying to find out how and what that is. But to say we just don't know and he's innocent and it's car, that's a crock of shit.
Yeah, not to mention the fact the whole dating minor thing.
Right.
Like there's still, even if he maybe didn't cause physical harm to this girl, still is guilty of something.
That's what I'm saying.
Allegedly.
Let me ask you another question about this. Thinking about First Amendment. Here's a song called "Romantic Homicide."
But they said the song was done way before.
But some people suggested that he's had some mental health issues.
Yeah,
and that
he's
been thinking about doing this kind of
That's why he made the record.
My point isn't that. Does this make you think differently about using lyrics as evidence? Like if people have songs and music that suggest crimes or admit to crimes or whatever.
What happens is, where do we draw the line? Especially when it comes to hip hop. Because in hip hop, violence, guns, murder, all of those things, unfortunately, have been a topic in hip hop. You know what I'm saying? So now, in that particular instance, yeah, it may be applicable, but where do we draw the line when we start trying to prosecute all these kids?
Yeah, I'm of the position that we shouldn't use them.
Same, by the way.
But it's tempting.
Yeah. I'm of the position that we should use them if they say, "Hey, I killed so and so on such and such a street."
on 7th Street.
Because that's what they do in my city, Philly. Like, there's a lot of these young drill rappers that have admitted to crimes in locations and dates and times.
See, my thing is, if that's true, then you don't need the lyrics.
Right.
Fair.
Right. Just use it. Just use that as an invest. Yeah, I got you.
I don't think it also should be.
You still might need the lyrics.
Yeah, because
though.
the lyrics is the one that says it.
What led you to go to this location to check for whatever?
I don't think it should
goes
be
back to the lyrics.
I don't think it should be the only or main evidence, by the way. But I think that if you have some other proof that he may or someone may or may not have done something, and then in the song they're saying, "Hey, I did this thing," I think that should be admissible in some level. I don't think it should be the only evidence. I don't think it should be the evidence that puts it away. But
chopped his hands off, put him under the steps. You just go look under the steps, and there's a pair of hands right there. It's like,
yeah,
we do have to bring you in for some questioning.
Yeah, you know what I'm saying.
They got some
can
good
lead the
points.
slippery slope. I mean,
They got some real good points, though. That's real. They definitely need to decipher his music. They do. His lyrics really tell the story, and we can't negate it. Yeah, you really can't.
And Biggie, that's a good example, right? If a kid is kidnapped and thrown over the bridge, you know what I mean?
Say the lyrics.
No, I'm not going to say the lyrics, but my point is, I'm not just going to go looking for gutter. What I'm saying is,
I made Romantic Homicide, and it was so different than everything else I had made because it was actually sad. It was slow, it was sad, it was emotional.
How are you, family? The temperature is going to rise. Turned up following straight up murder revelation from R&B artist David, who was being captured on camera. We discussing about him confessing to the murder of a 15-year-old in his Tesla Celeste Rivas was discovered dead. Even worse, everyone on his crew was aware of it. Allow me to explain this crazy circumstance that has the music industry trembled. David's leaked confession audio exposes details about the murder. She was only 15, but she was the ideal girl, in David's opinion. Because of him, yo fam, that's a movie of an excursion that features David and the deceased, a 15-year-old who was purportedly abducted by the vocalist. But let's dive first directly to the most damning proof the entire internet is sure of, that David is guilty as accused. The disclosed Celeste, an unreleased demo tune, appeared on the internet on September 17, 2025. Celeste Rivas Hernandez's birthday. Official identification was given to the remains. This isn't your typical song leak. It's a 2. The confession was completed in 1 minute and 47 seconds. In an R&B song that has folks claiming that this feline actually sang about the murder before it was discovered. The song itself is eerie, created using that distinctive lo-fi look David is known for. However, the lyrics are what's sending shivers down everyone's back. Independent confirmation demonstrates the production and vocals are in line with David's recognized style. From the Files sessions in 2023, information showing it was recorded in a house in Hollywood in December 2023. That's 4 months prior to, because Celeste vanished, the whole thing even more perverse. The frightening aspect of this released song enters the bridge, where David Celeste is named specifically and describes details that are precisely in line with the place of the crime. "Oh, Celeste," he sings, "the girl who has a tattoo of my name on her chest. I can smell her on my clothes, cigarettes. Every time I hear her voice, despite my obsession, I take a deep breath." The worsens. He goes on to say, "Missing you depressed me so much." However, I'm getting off track because the tune just switches to a solo instrumental, such as he understood that he had said too much. The person with the tattoo, her chest line somewhat resembles Rivas's. "Shh" is written on a finger tattoo, which David received the same version in September 2024. "She smelled like that on my clothes." The cigarette line is what has people frightened because that's just where the tow yard work is explained. A terrible, decaying stench emanating from the Tesla that has been waiting for months. TMZ claims that just last evening, the workplace provided the victim's height of around 5'1", gender as female, and 71 pounds. This individual has wavy black hair, and it seems that she has her right index finger has a tattoo that reads, "Shh." It seems that she had been sporting black leggings and a tube top, had a metal chain and a metal stud earring bracelet shaped like a W. As stated, however, to be more precise to TMZ, there is no clear-cut conclusion here respect to cause of death, age, or gender. Days later, the leak made its debut on X-Byte coverage through a source.
David kept repeating something in this interview that wasn't even needed, and it only made him look guilty.
But she died in the back of my mind. Like, I didn't kill her physically, but in the back of my mind, she died. In the back of my mind, so that you think that I'm gonna say you died, but I say I killed you. It was something that she did, it was something that I decided to do, and I killed her in the back of my mind. But it's really more figurative I killed you, especially in the back of my mind. I try to stress that in the back of my mind. That's why I say it so loud. In the back of my mind, you died. In the back of my mind, I killed you. In the back of my mind, you died.
So I don't know if what this person is saying is true. I don't know if he's trying to interfere with an investigation and get himself arrested. But this person on Reddit made a post saying that he lives in the area where David's rental home in LA is. And he was just walking around the area to see if he could spot anything when he looked down and actually saw a Tesla key card on the ground hidden in like a little gutter area underneath some leaves. Now, law enforcement has been notified of this discovery. The only thing is that it's been out
Everybody
in the
wants to be
environment,
famous
and as you
on
can
this
see,
case.
this person is touching the key with his bare hands. I always thought it was common sense that you don't touch evidence with your bare hands, but I guess it's not so common anymore. Now, if this is in fact David's Tesla key, this opens up a whole other can of worms, because this kind of could indicate that someone else may be involved in all of this. I looked it up, and David's Tesla, the one that Celeste was found in, does come with a key card. Now, you can use your phone to unlock this vehicle, or you can use this key card if you
I made Romantic Homicide, and it was so different than everything else I had made because it was actually sad. It was slow, it was sad, it was emotional.
How are you, family? The temperature is going to rise. Turned up following straight up murder revelation from R&B artist David, who was being captured on camera.
Not much more significance other than I like the fact that the owner got his own investigator so that nothing gets missed. And, you know, just let's keep LAPD honest, if you will, because, you know, they always, they always can be dishonest. Not always, I don't want to say always, but they often are dishonest with proceedings and in cases, if you will. So I'm glad to see that the homeowner to the mansion, if you will, has, you know, doing his own investigation, because I would like to know too, especially if it's your property that, you know, you believe that she found herself demised in. So that's that's real. I like the fact of that. Huh? Did he? Oh, wait a minute.
So worry about it.
Megan
Yes,
crashed out. Tory
Tory
Lanez gets
shot me.
presidential power.
You
He's
shot
coming
me.
home. What?
And you got your publicists and your people going to these blogs lying. Stop lying.
Y'all better sit down for this, because Tory Lanez is reportedly on the brink of a presidential pardon, and Megan Thee Stallion is crashing out. Years of legal battles, drama, and accusations are suddenly back in the spotlight, and shocking new evidence has thrown the entire story into chaos. Now, new evidence is pointing out that Megan's friend Kelsey is the real shooter,
Ain't
and the
nobody I
whispers
ain't heard
online are
this one.
turning into full-blown accusations, and Megan's past statements are being dissected, and her credibility is being questioned, and the backlash is vicious. Fans are dragging her harder than ever and claiming that she lied, ruined Tory's life, and all that messy stuff. Well, Megan's world is spinning out of control, and there is no easy way out. Tory walking free is not just news, it is a direct hit to her reputation,
I hope he
her
does
credibility,
get out.
and her life. And the internet is merciless. Fans are relentless, and every angle is being twisted against her. Now, the streets are saying that Tory is coming after her once he gets free, and y'all know that things are about to get out of hand, so let me break it down for y'all. Okay, so it looks like Tory Lanez might just be walking a free man before the year runs out, because we're...
Well, it would be nice if that's what President Trump does for him. But I would not believe that this young man is going to... I'm sorry, I didn't have it where you could see it. This young man is not going to come out and come after the girl. Come on, plan, stop. But hey, who knows what Trump's going to do? It would be nice though if he did.
Only paid
it really would.
In the streets is that he might be next on the list to get a presidential pardon, and this would make Tory
you know,
one of
they
the
got
many
so many
celebrities to have
stories.
gotten a presidential pardon in the past couple of months.
It may
In the past
not-
few months,
it
the
just
president
could
has
be
already
some
pardoned
more.
NBA YoungBoy for his weapons charges, plus reality stars Todd and Julie Chrisley after their fraud and tax evasion convictions. Oh, and let's not forget his blanket pardon for the January 6 rioters. And from that, the streets...
But that would be nice if Tory Lanez got pardoned. Really would. Oh, what's going on with the herpes story? We say TikTok reacts to Cardi B embarrassing Stefan.
Ain't worry about them hoes talking down cause I'm too up. So interestingly for me, when you talk down, it inspires me to go harder. I played sports, so I'm no stranger to...
Y'all, Quavo straight up told Saweetie that she wasn't the woman that he thought she was, claiming that she infected 20 men with herpes. He's also alleging that she's been selling that cool to get, something that fans have long suspected about, saying her money doesn't come from music alone. And according to him, that's how the herpes spread, and now it's all coming to light. But all this is just the tip of the iceberg. Y'all, you better tap in. Okay, so we really got to get to why this allegation is so destructive, because you've got to look at the rumors that have been swirling around Saweetie for years. A lot of people, both in the industry and online, never really believed that her lavish lifestyle was funded by music alone. The whispers were always there, lurking in the background.
Oh, well.
One social
Do
media
y'all
user
have
even
any
summed it
proof
up
for that?
perfectly.
That-
No way y'all thought
that's
Saweetie was
another
supporting her lifestyle
allegedly.
with her music. So yeah, basically the idea was that she'd been around the block, so to speak.
If she
And now the
gave-
herpes allegations?
If she gave everybody else herpes, then he must be one of the recipients of it, allegedly. Oh, wow. Why would you even? Oh, these people are crazy. Twenty-one Savage raises after his wife jumps lotto. Boy, they be tripping in this world. What's the update? Let's see what's the update with Tiny. Let's see. So let's read this. She's got some updated. She's pretty good.
Hi everyone, I'm Sloan from SloanBella.com, and I am back with another energetically channeled celebrity musician and the girl found in his car video. And by that I mean the young woman named Celeste Rivera, who was found on September 8th of 2025 in the front trunk of her boyfriend slash friend slash singer, David. And he spells his name D4VD. Now that is interesting to me because that's a signal for something else. This little girl, Celeste, was found, as I said, on September 8th of 2025, one day after she would have turned 15 years old. Baby girl was born on September 7th of 2010. And she didn't even make it to 15 because her body was found severely decomposed in the front end trunk of the Tesla of the singer named David. Now, Celeste was rumored to have been his friend. She may have been a girlfriend. She may not have been a girlfriend. We don't really know. We're not really sure. Energetically, it feels very much like there was even more of an ongoing relationship. So,
you know, we are truly in a very dark timeline when it turns out that TikTokers are doing heavy lifting that the police aren't doing. Now, I say heavy lifting because I think...
Well, and I always said the internet detectives do a greater job than the regular police department. First of all, the police have to follow guidelines and follow the letter of the law, whereas, you know, free agents here, if you will, our minds is all over the place, and we normally, excuse me, in my opinion, can solve the case faster than the police can. So she's right about that.
You know, we are truly in a very dark timeline when it turns out that TikTokers are doing heavy lifting that the police aren't doing. Now, I say heavy lifting because I think TikTok sometimes gets in the way of active investigations. People throw out conspiracy theories. It becomes very messy very quickly. On the other hand, there are times where people on TikTok are doing the heavy lifting that it seems like the police either doesn't want to do, can't do, insert excuse. I've been keeping tabs on the whole Celeste story with David because I had a feeling, and a lot of people on TikTok also feel that way, that this is going to go absolutely nowhere. Now, I have
agree.
to say, in this particular case, I do think that social media attention helps because it keeps a level of pressure on the police. If nobody were talking about this on social media, I think this would have already kind of dissipated because if you actually look for articles about all of this, there aren't that many. And upon my research, because I saw TikToks, I wanted to see if anything was published to confirm, deny, whatever. A lot of the publications that are posting about this are on Facebook, which isn't a publication, but they're posts, I guess. They're on TMZ, and they're on, who else? The Hindustan Times, I think it was. And I was just kind of like, this is random. It's also very weird because I don't really know who really checks on TMZ anymore. I don't really, but they did pop up on my feed. Regardless, it's interesting that TMZ is posting about it, and yet so many other publications, newspapers, online reporting is silent. Anyway, let us go over the things that I've found recently.
They
that
are part of the machine. And this kid belonged to one of the major labels. Come on now. You already know if they had their way, if there was no internet, like she said, this case would have been dissipated.
I think are interesting or that put more question marks, which really this entire case is a question mark, right? So one thing that has gone viral on TikTok is in relation to Celeste's family and the fact that they made a number of 911 calls. Now I'm going to show you a TikTok that discusses this more in depth, but I did want to read a little bit from the LA Times since they actually wrote something about it. Before she was found dead in David's Tesla, Celeste Rivas' mysterious disappearance distressed family. So I'm skipping parts of this that we've already discussed, but it'll be linked down below if you want to read the full article. So it says, according to Riverside County Sheriff's Department records, Celeste was reported missing 3 times by her family in 3 incidents that occurred in early 2024 and sparked multiple calls with local police. Her mother made emotional pleas on Facebook for her to come home. Neighbors saw missing posts on local streets. Her family sought video surveillance from their neighborhood that could yield clues. She usually returned home to Lake Elsinore and blended back into her life as a middle schooler. Yeah, so then it goes on to say that Celeste had run away before, but she always came back. And this is something we've already discussed a little bit, that it seemed like there was a pattern of her running away and coming back. I'm assuming that's what some of the 911 calls were about, but like I said, the TikTok will explain more about that. So it's also important to note that neighbors said the family posted flyers of Celeste around the neighborhood, hoping to spread the word that someone would have information as to her whereabouts, and this is in reference to all the times she disappeared, right? And I think that this is an important thing to note, because if you've been on social media, actually, not so long ago, internet investigators were theorizing or putting out there the fact that David was paying off Celeste's family, and people were painting Celeste's family as complicit, which is something I never reported on because, I mean, it was all just made up shit anyway. There was no proof that that was the case. But aside from that, that's a very heavy allegation to put out there, that the family is basically trafficking or selling off their child, their minor child, to an adult. That's a very heavy accusation, but that was going around. That's also why I wanted to bring some attention to the phone records, because it really does not seem to me like the family was just letting her do whatever. It looks like there was quite a bit of interaction with the police. Now, people are theorizing that all the calls to 911 were basically just problems within the household, so another way to make Celeste's family look guilty. And there's no evidence that there were problems in the household to the extent that you have to call 911. Again, I don't know them, I'm not defending them, but I'm saying we can't just throw whatever out there and just say that's the truth. As a quick asterisk to that, I do think something was going on in the home, because typically kids don't just run away to run away. So it's possible that there was upheaval in the home, but again, we need to talk about this in levels, right? Because it's one thing to have a kid who does not get along with their parents for whatever reason and then runs away. It's a very different thing to have a kid who is in a toxic household, an abusive household, whatever the case may be. Those are 2 very different scenarios amidst many multiple scenarios, right? So I don't want to put any idea out there because I have no idea. There is nothing that's indicating what could have been going on within the household.
I believe that the mom knew something. I do. I really do. They could try to play it down as much as you want, but at some point the mother had to know that she was with this rich boyfriend, or this allegedly this rich friend, if you will, and they had to. I don't know. I mean, it's allegedly any old way, but you know, it seems like it. They could have called the police just for the sake of calling the police, knowing that they're not going to look for or find her anyway. So, but that was the way to cover themselves, if you will. Hindsight 2020. It's a great possibility now that mom was, knew what was going on. Excuse me. And to cover herself, she did the missing police reports. That her daughter was missing, knowing that they weren't going to go look for her anyway or find her.
David and Celeste update, Celeste Rivas Hernandez update. The 911 call history from which Celeste's family was calling 911 multiple times throughout the year was released. Now, it's unclear how many of these times actually had anything to do with Celeste, but the amount of times that they were called is actually insane. I want to show you this because other than this, there haven't been any updates really about David, other than it has come out that he transferred the home to his mother's name and that he hired counsel who has represented very high profile people in Hollywood, such as Kanye West. So let's go ahead and get into this call log that allegedly was coming from Celeste Hernandez Rivas' home. It features calls ranging from November of 2020 all the way to September of 2025. Let's get into it. So as we can see on this report, it says Riverside County Sheriff's Department Data Warehouse Report, and it shows the incident dates, and right over here it says nature of the call. That's where it has a code, and that code actually tells you why the call was made.
She could have been the
one.
one
If you
that
want to screenshot this so you can look at it for yourself. And then that same person provided us with the call type / nature of the call, code, and meaning. If you want to screenshot this as well, that way you can take a look at the call log and then piece it together with the code meaning. So if we go back to the call log, a lot of these are FUs, meaning follow-up investigations, and they are follow-up investigations to the MNCIMI, meaning a minor crime incident. So let's go down the list. On November 17, 2020, a call was made for the fraudulent use of a credit card.
In my opinion,
the next two incidents being August 18, 2021 and January 20, 2022 were for
nobody could have
or
been doing anything.
On February 5th,
nobody could have been doing anything to her. She could have just been, a fast teenage girl that wanted to go do her own thing. And, often they didn't allow her or she couldn't. So quite naturally, when you can't have your way and you think you've grown, if you will, you're already on Discord chatting with, the gentleman. Excuse me, but no telling what sweet whatnots he put in her head. So she just wanted to get out of there. But, allegedly it's been going on way before 2020. I don't know if he knew her that far back. I know he knew her when he was underage. So that tells you that they knew each other for a little minute.
15th, 2024, which wasn't this literally around the time that she went missing. They made a call for a minor crime incident, and then they followed up on the 15th and the 16th, and again on the 17th of 2024 they were doing follow-up calls. She was also reported missing in April of 2024, and we can see a call on April 1st, April 2nd, April 5th, April 11th, April 19th, April 20th, April 27th. Now, the majority of the ones in April are for a minor crime incident and follow-up calls, but the one at the end of April, the SCIRC, is for suspicious circumstances. Now, I know the codes do vary per state. This might be a little bit off. So, of course, always go out and do your own research if you actually want to get very detailed and to the bottom of this. I'm trying to give I'm trying to give you the best information
Excuse
that I
me.
can, but I know that
Uh-oh.
everything on the internet is
Uh-oh.
not always
I'm
accurate.
starting to yawn.
It looks like the last calls on this report were made on September of 2025. We have September 9th, September 10th, September 12th, September 19th, again on the 19th, the 22nd, and on the 29th. The first two were follow-up calls. The PC594 says that it was for vandalism, which what was going on there? The next one was a follow-up investigation, follow-up investigation, follow-up investigation, and I'm reading the September ones. And then the final call on...
Yeah, I just hope justice is done for Celeste. You know, at the end of the day, I just hope justice is done. And it's so unfortunate that, you know, Davey worked so hard to create the platform that he created for it to... Mm-mm. Just sad.
It's been about a full month since everything regarding the David case first happened, and for some strange reason, David is still walking around free. However, it may not be for long because it is reported he's now transferring assets out of his own name. So let's dive into it. By now, many of you are already aware of the David case.
Well, he wants to protect what he owns. I mean, I wonder if they could allow him to do that. Maybe he can because he's not a suspect. So, but usually, you know, they don't allow you to start moving stuff out of your name because it potentially could be tied to a civil suit or whatever the case may be. And then it's not in his name. Then it's in his mom's name. Then they can't sue him. So. That's crazy.
Where the body of a 15-year-old girl named Celeste was found dead in the back of David's Tesla. And if you don't know who David is, he is a pretty popular artist. In fact, he was actually on tour when the body was found in his car. And if you guys watched my other videos on the David situation, then you would already know that there was a connection, allegedly, between Celeste and David, and not the good kind. And because I don't want to get sued, they were allegedly, according to a lot of other sources, dating.
Allegedly.
This man is
We all know it's
absolutely
allegedly.
cooked. Career over. Him and the 15-year-old girl that was found chopped up in his trunk. Oh, they knew each other since as early as 2022 when she was 12.
So it did
Celeste
go
would have
back.
been 13 years old. She would have been turning 14 in September of 2024. And they're talking about how he has a girlfriend. And then down here, somebody says, yeah, her name is Celeste.
And just to be clear, I don't even think that would be considered dating. I think that's just called grooming. Like, he can't just choose to date a 13-year-old at 18. That's just not how that works. But anyway, that was just the beginning of this insane case, because after the initial case was announced to the public and the internet went into chaos about it, lots of people that were either close with Celeste or just knew about her and David's relationship came out with a bunch of information trying to expose them. And by expose them, I really just meant exposing David because, you know, he was kind of an adult at this point. And adults make adult decisions, like going to pay off people that he thinks is going to expose him and Celeste's relationship to the public. And apparently, people even believe that David was paying off Celeste's mom.
Huge update on the David situation. This is what I heard people talking about. I'm not sure if it's true. Y'all let me know down in the comments. But apparently David was paying Celeste's mom $10,000 a week to keep quiet.
And even though some of these theories, like that one, sounded insane, not all of them were completely off. For example, how would you defend his own Discord server talking about a missing girl named Celeste Rivas Hernandez to David after she had already went missing? And
I really do believe that he's giving the mom money. I don't know about no $10,000 a week. They might have the numbers and the figures and the dates wrong, but I do actually believe. But, you know, that's enough of Davey for me. I just hope and pray that the young lady gets justice. Yeah, so that part. YN Melly just shocked the Florida courts. Let's see what's going
This
on
is
with
what
this
using a
young man.
fascia ring for just 1 month can do. You know what happens when you massage and work out with this fascia ring for 20 minutes every day?
YNW Melly just took another W in the case, and I'm going to explain to you why page by page. So we're going to do some cut-ins because apparently y'all like that with the Lil Durk video. So let's get into it. District Court of Appeal of the State of Florida, 4th District, State of Florida, Appellant versus Jamel Dimmons, Appellee. Appeal and cross-appeal from the Circuit Court for the 17th Judicial Circuit, Broward County. John Murphy, Judge, LT case number 19-001872 CF 10A. Let's get into it. James, Attorney General Tallahassee, and Jasenia. Then you got Senior Assistant Attorney. Anyways, let's do it this way. Carrie Hout of Law Office of Carrie Hout, West Palms, Gross. The state appeals orders suppressing evidence in 2 trial court cases involving Jamel Dimmons, a double murder case, and a related witness tampering case. The trial court furnished detailed rulings through an omnibus order addressing more than a dozen warrants. The trial court deemed search warrants associated with the digital storage of social media platforms to be overboard. Consistent with the affidavits filed in support of the warrants, the trial court severed the warrants' impermissible portions and temporarily limited the warrant's scope to the date or hours before the murders to pinpoint Dimmons' location around the time of the murders. So basically, Melly went in with Carrie, and we told y'all Carrie is hard body, bruh. And what she did was she came in there, made her case, and we spoke about this in the previous video about this. I probably had to link it or something like that, where basically the courts was listening, and I ain't gonna hold you, they damn near made the ruling right there. Because the questions that they asked her, basically, meaning the prosecution, was, why the hell is this scope so goddamn big, bro? Like, y'all could have narrowed it in. So the courts basically said, yeah, we gonna go ahead and we gonna rock with the lower courts. State, you could take this L, but wrote it in its appeal of the omnibus order. The state does not defend the propriety of the individual warrants. Rather, the state argues that all evidence recovered from the warrant's execution would have been inevitably discovered or obtained from independent sources. Dimmons filed a cross appeal to challenge the omnibus order. Dimmons argues that Florida law does not permit severance of constitutionality in firm general warrants. So, all evidence associated with those warrants should have been suppressed and not temporarily limited. We affirm the trial court's order. Regarding the independent source / inevitable discovery arguments, the trial court was entitled to reject the testimony of the state's primary witness as rank speculation. We write primarily to discuss our reasons for rejecting Dimmons' criticisms of the trial court's narrowing of the warrant's scope. Dimmons argues that proportionality must be considered with any severing of a warrant. A court must consider the relative size of the valid and invalid portions of the warrant, and severance is not appropriate where only a relatively significant portion of the warrant is valid. The trial court noted that Florida and some federal courts have agreed that a warrant's partial invalidity does not necessarily render the entire warrant invalid. The trial court found general support in Florida for pretrial suppression / severability, but no guidance about how to sever. Consequently, the trial court looked to federal cases that outline a step-by-step methodology, adopting the 10th Circuit's approach and articulating the methodology and remaining for application. United States versus Sales, observing that all federal circuits have followed the doctrine of severability, synonymously referring to it as severability, severance, redaction, or partial suppression. What ends up happening is there's a lot of digital evidence that that Judge Fine tossed out and was like, bruh, y'all can't hold all this stuff and go dig deeper and all of this shit. Like, they were trying to go back and find stuff. It felt like if they could have pulled up his baby pictures, they would have tossed this all the way up in there. So what are we looking at? We're looking at how the judge basically said, nah, this is way too broad. We're going to toss that, the cell phone, the social media crap, all of these things. They all got to go. So now you sitting up here saying, we're just going to dig a little bit more, Judge, and we don't like that you basically said this. And the judge said, y'all digging way too far for too much evidence. So let's continue on. The trial court's omnibus order noted limitations on severability when the challenged provisions are valid due to lack of probable cause. But the order recognized that federal courts have severed when the challenged provision is overly broad due to a failure to include a reasonable temporal limitation. United States versus Newthard, addressing a warrant's lack of date restriction, and concluding that even if a date restriction should have been included, suppression is not the right remedy. A court should instead sever the infirm portion of a warrant from the remainder, which passes constitutional muster. Upon considering federal cases, the trial court applied the Second Circuit's approach as detailed in Gaplin, which adopted that Sells, Gaplin 720 F3D at 488. We approve of the trial's court reliance on Gaplin to narrow the warrant's time frame. Notably, Gaplin's approach accounts for proportionality as it cautioned that severance is not an available remedy for an overboard warrant where no part of the warrant is sufficiently particularized, where no portion of the warrant may be meaningfully severed, or where the sufficiently particularized portions make up only insignificant or tangential part of the warrant.
So what are they doing?
Galpin reviewed in order to
I don't see nothing there. Melly coming home. The evidence just ain't there. Oh, okay. This is a lie.
Quote.
You know, these
a
titles
lot of
is
people
funny.
had access to that Tesla. That's from somebody connected to all of this.
These titles is like real funny. David, what did the title say? David's manager arrested after disturbing Celeste video leak. Let's see. I didn't mean to come back to
And
David, but let's see.
maybe they did, maybe they didn't. But if they did, well, that would definitely complicate matters.
So you mean to tell me David manager Josh Marshall sat by for 4 long years and didn't say nothing?
David's manager has broken his silence about Celeste Rivas Hernandez. David's manager, Josh Marshall, has broken his silence in a comment here on TikTok, which have a lot of people speculating.
From day one, people online were side-eyeing David's manager, Josh Marshall, and honestly, with good reason. Rumors were flying that Josh knew Celeste was underage, but still pushed her to run away and move in with him and David like it was no big deal. Now karma's come crashing down hard, because federal agents have just arrested Josh after shocking leaked footage surfaced. Prosecutors aren't playing around either. They say Josh could be staring down life in prison. But to understand how this even got to this point, we've got to rewind to where the warning signs first started flashing bright red. Josh was supposed to be managing David's career, making deals, setting up shows, not getting wrapped up in something this dark. Here's the wild part. Josh didn't
really
just
get
find
arrested?
out about Celeste later. He was warned, and not just through rumors or hearsay. We're talking cold, hard proof. Back in February 2024, a family friend of Celeste sent Josh an email with the missing persons report attached.
Yeah, I
Every
heard
detail was right there. Her full name, her age, her photo, everything. And the message was crystal clear. We know Celeste is living with you guys. She needs to come home. And now here's where it gets even crazier. Just 1 day later, Celeste actually did go back home. That means Josh saw that email. He read it. He knew she was missing. He knew she was a child. And he knew she was connected to his client, David.
Him, and that they included the missing persons flyer. She's a missing person. She's 12 or 13 at that time. And the next I think it was the next day or the day after, she showed up. She just showed up on her own, back home.
Yet somehow, just a few weeks later, Celeste was right back at that same apartment, living with both of them again. This isn't just gossip or speculation. This timeline comes directly from people close to Celeste. people who begged for her to be brought home. And the fact that Josh ignored every warning sign? That's not just reckless, it's chilling. So let's get this straight. You're a manager for an artist signed to Interscope Records, and someone literally tells you that your client has a missing 14-year-old girl staying under his roof. What do? You call her parents, you call the cops, you distance yourself fast.
Yep.
But Josh, he did nothing. He stayed completely silent, and that silence spoke volumes. Private investigator Steve Fisher, who's been tracking this case closely and is known for handling missing person cases, went on Pop Crime TV and said it plain and simple. The silence coming from Josh, David, and even Interscope Records was deafening. He called it a horrible look and said their lack of urgency made the whole situation even more suspicious. And get this, that silence didn't stop in 2024.
Allegedly.
Even after Celeste was found dead, Josh jumped online trying to clear his name, denying everything. He swore up and down that no such email ever reached him, that he never lived with David, and that he had no clue about Celeste or her disappearance. When people on TikTok started connecting dots and suggesting he might have played a role, Josh went off, saying it was baseless and unfair to accuse him without solid proof.
Of course,
but here's where the
even though he
mask
had
starts
something
slipping,
to do with
because
it.
Celeste didn't just randomly appear near Josh once, it happened twice. The first time, that February email was enough to send her back home. But when she ran away again, her friends didn't call the police first, they went straight to Josh. That says a lot, doesn't it? They clearly believed he was directly involved, or at the very least, that he knew exactly where she was.
They both know.
That detail alone made this whole thing stop feeling like just bad PR and start sounding like something way darker. When Josh finally broke his silence, instead of clearing things up, his response only made people more suspicious. He doubled down, said he never got any emails, denied ever sharing a place with David,
Okay,
and
did he
claimed
go to
folks
jail?
online
Did he
were
go to
just
jail?
spinning false narratives.
Things that he does say that he really
Old music videos, and what they found made everyone's stomach drop. In his video, For One More Dance, David plays two ass for messing with that 13-year-old girl. That was back in February.
It looked like them boys over there at TMZ are going to have to walk back certain things that they said. If you don't know, TMZ is one of the ones who had originally led us down the rabbit hole that David was basically suspect number one. Well, during a live stream, it seemed like TMZ definitely got their Michael Jackson shoes on, because the boy, Harvey, yeah, he had to come out and say some very compelling things. And it's interesting.
Let's see what he got to say. Okay. I'm back on the David story.
The others suck. Anything about David?
I can't live 24 hours with praise.
I do have something, but I can't talk about it. Yeah, I do have something, but I just can't talk about it. There are certain things, I'll tell you if I know something and if I don't, and if I can tell you, I will. But I'm not able to do this story, and it's complicated why, but I just can't say.
Do you know why it's complicated now?
Why is they
I'm
talking
gonna give you a
about
guess.
Okay.
I'm going to give you a guess. No matter what happened, and this may not be a homicide, it could be a drug overdose.
Yeah.
And I'll give you an
That's
example.
what it is.
That was a party house.
Okay, Harvey, you
And
got
the
it.
Sunday before the body was found, they had a big party there. I'm not saying that's when this happened, but they had a big party there, and the neighbors were complaining, and we talked to neighbors who were saying they always had parties there. It was.
David might not get charged with anything, and TMZ is doing their damnedest to make sure that they desecrate Lil Buddy's name, because I believe they headed for a lawsuit if David is never charged. Man, take a listen to this interview that they wrote about these security camera footage things. Now, this story had actually broke an hour before we had posted our video, so that's why you didn't see this update, because of YouTube stuff. But anyways, David, exclusive, David. Cops have rental home security vids. Was Celeste there before death? LAPD sitting on a potential gold mine in the David investigation. Surveillance videos from the singer's Hollywood Hills rental home that could reveal whether Celeste Rivas was there prior to her mysterious death. TMZ has learned cops seized all of the footage from multiple security cameras at the house last month while executing a search warrant. The owner of the house, Malden Truvanovic, tells us the external cameras would show anyone who went in or out of the house. So the footage could help us, or help cops track Celeste's movements leading up to her demise. Malden says he hasn't seen any of the footage himself because he intentionally did not have access to the cameras to allow his renters privacy. So he has no idea if Celeste was ever in the house. He says he asked LAPD for a copy of the warrant and an itemized list of what was seized from the house, but has not gotten a response. I'm assuming that he's going to try to file some type of anything to save some type of money, something. It's some in his insurance clause that he basically is like, hell nah, they would not let me close this. That's funny as hell. Malden says he hasn't seen any of the footage himself because he intentionally did not have access to the cameras to allow his renters privacy, so he has no idea if Celeste was ever in the house. He says he asked LAPD for a copy of a warrant and an itemized list of what was seized from the house, but has gotten no response. Malden has hired a private investigator to look into Celeste's death. He says his PI is still very early on his investigation, has nothing to share.
Hey, they want to know what kind of evidence they got, so help them. Oh, I tell you, one day ago, I'm good. Everybody got their twist. Putting a twist on this case.
It's now been a month since a body was discovered in the back of singer David's Tesla in an abandoned impound lot in Los Angeles.
A gruesome discovery in a tow yard. Authorities say they were called to an impound lot in Hollywood after someone noticed a foul odor coming from a car.
The woman's body stuffed into a Tesla,
anything
left for days or even weeks.
But Eyewitness News has learned the 2023 Tesla is registered in
I usually don't do anything the day that I do this podcast stuff, but it was a real busy day. Super busy. I am going. I'm falling asleep. I need to get off of here. I am super tired. Let's see what's happened with Tiny and T.I.'s son. I would really like to know. Yeah, I will not do this again. I'm super tired. Let's see. I don't want no shorts. I want videos. It look like some AI pictures. I want to know if he's doing any better. That's 9 days ago. What? Tia freaks out the King Harris leaks. Paternity papers, they got this story about the boy is in his. A lot of these things are, what do you call that? Look like AI stories. I just wanted an update. The two youngest kids is killing the game. One is acting and the other one just is singing her heart out. Well, there's no real update. Last I heard, he was in intensive care and he was really, really struggling and battling for his life. He's not my biological father. Boy, these kids sure know how to dig up dirt. Let's see. Any shocking allegations involving. I just want to know how is he doing? Is he recovered? Two weeks ago. Let's see.
It all began with a night that no one thought would spiral into one of the most shocking scandals in the Harris family. King Harris, the son of rapper T.I. and Tiny Harris, had lived his entire life under the lights of fame and fortune. From the moment he was born, cameras followed him, people recognized his last name, and luxury was part of his everyday life. To the outside world, it looked like a dream come true. He had mansions, expensive cars, and parents who were legends in music. But you won't believe how quickly that dream started turning into a nightmare once King decided he didn't want to live in the shadow of his parents. He didn't just want to be known as T.I.'s son, he wanted to prove he was his own man. And that desire slowly dragged him down a path of trouble. Let me tell you, King's story wasn't just about a spoiled kid making silly mistakes. His behavior started changing right in front of everyone's eyes. Fans.
Is this
you know I stand on business. Why you even letting somebody play with me like that? Why you letting somebody play with me like that?
King Harris released after begging freedom
that when you
from
come to jail,
wrong
everybody jealous
is this true?
What you done had in your life.
That's the update I want to know if this is
like. I wish I would have had.
I just want to say this. First and foremost, there's no shame, no embarrassment in getting packed out, getting beat up. As long as you fight, you're respected. Now, did King fight? We don't know. I'm going to tell you my personal opinion about T.I.'s son, King.
Wow.
King Harris always preached to the world that he was standing on business. But once those prison doors slammed shut, that tough talk vanished fast. Behind those cold walls, the Prince of Trap learned a truth that fame, money, and family names can't protect you when the streets don't respect you. And now, a powerful gang leader has stepped forward, revealing what really went down behind bars. And it's way worse than anyone imagined. Rumors are already swirling that King's legal team is desperately trying to secure an early release, spinning stories and calling in favors. Some even whisper that certain connections might be trying to pull strings for a quiet exit from the chaos inside. Whether he's truly getting out or just begging for a transfer, the word is clear. King Harris wants out of that cell.
Like,
yeah, this is.
I don't have no gang. I ain't in no gang. I got family. I got motherfuckers who willing to risk their lives and freedom to die by me and mine. You hear me? Why don't fucking play with me, man?
Yeah.
Don't play with my motherfucking child ever.
Why? No, King changed for other reasons, and he ain't got good sense. You see what I'm saying?
Is that nigga not give us a question?
Everybody know King ain't got, you know what I'm saying? He ain't got all his marbles.
I'm the only one on here who got bad-ass kids.
We all go through
You feel what I'm saying?
Yeah.
If you ain't got no bad-ass kids, you got one and you got lucky. You hear me? Anybody with 3 or more,
multiples.
You got one that you don't know what the hell you gonna do with.
Because behind the flashy cars and viral confidence, King's world collapsed the second he stepped into that prison.
Oh my God, I'm so tight.
His last name didn't matter. The music legacy didn't matter. And that, I'm built for this attitude, gone in a flash. According to a well-known Atlanta gang figure who just exposed the truth, King isn't made for this life he's been glorifying. He's not a soldier. He's scared. And that fear is spreading fast through the block like wildfire. This isn't just another celebrity kid in trouble story. This is a brutal, unfiltered look at what happens when privilege meets prison politics. The illusion of standing on business has crumbled, and now King's name gets whispered in the yard. Not with respect, but with laughter. And before this story's over, you'll learn exactly why one gang figure decided to humiliate him so publicly. In front of inmates, guards, and even people who once looked up to him. It was so cold, so personal, that the entire pod hasn't stopped talking about it since. But before we drop that bombshell, let us rewind to where this downfall truly began. That infamous traffic stop that set off the whole chain of chaos that led King Harris straight into this nightmare.
I'm so like puzzled why King feels
the desire, need, want to be considered a street dude that badly? Like, why is he so obsessed with the struggle, with the life of being a street dude? Like, street dudes ain't really winning.
You wanted to go over there. You cried and cried and cried when you couldn't go over there.
We done got big house, big yard, nothing to do.
But you want to be from the ghetto so bad.
On the surface, it looked routine. Just another flashy kid in a BMW making an illegal turn. Nothing serious. But within seconds, that routine traffic stop turned into a full-blown nightmare. Police ran his name, and the air shifted instantly. There was a warrant, there were weapons, and suddenly the son of Atlanta royalty was lying face down on the pavement, cuffed and surrounded by flashing blue lights. The smell of weed filled the air. The tension was thick. And King Harris, the same guy who bragged online about when he's standing on business, was being told to keep his hands still or else. That's when the fantasy shattered. This wasn't a music video. This wasn't Instagram Live. This was the raw, humiliating reality of what happens when the spotlight fades and real life hits back hard. Now here's the twist. King didn't freak out. He didn't scream, didn't curse, didn't even throw a tantrum. The officers themselves admitted he stayed calm, even polite. He played it cool, at least for the cameras. But what happens next separates a performer from a survivor. Because staying calm in front of cops is one thing. Surviving in holding is another story entirely, and that's exactly where the mask slipped. Once those cell doors clanged shut, the whispers started flying fast. The same guy who used to bark tough on social media suddenly looked out of place. According to insiders, the trapped prince wasn't acting like a soldier. He was acting shaken. The gang leader's revelation cut straight through that fake image, exposing how quickly King's confidence cracked when the power dynamics flipped. Even the online world took notice. Commentators who usually defend young rappers started asking real questions. DJ Academics in his signature blunt tone called it out for everyone to see, saying King ass obsession with proving he ass some street doesn't make sense. Not for someone born into luxury, fame, and protection. Think about that. The son of a multimillionaire, born in silk sheets and chauffeured luxury, still obsessed with proving he belongs to a lifestyle most people spend their whole lives trying to escape. It's wild.
What you want to do? What you want to do? You from here?
Yeah, I'm from here. Yeah, I'm from here.
All right, so...
Oh, hell, y'all, let's go.
What's up with you, bro? What's up with you, bro?
Let's go.
Putting your hand around me, talking out your ass like you want to do something. What's up, bro?
Oh, Lord.
What's up, bro?
Nothing.
What?
Wow.
Relax, or what?
Nothing.
Or what? Or what?
Nothing.
Or what? Nothing. Because you just tried me like a roller.
This could be a game.
Get about your business, my nigga. Get about your business.
I think he wants you to peel.
King Harris had access to every door money could open, yet he chose to chase the only one that slammed shut. A prison cell. And when those public meltdowns started, when his mask began to slip, the cracks in that tough guy persona were impossible to ignore. Who could forget that heated altercation with his own father, T.I.? Cameras rolled as the world watched a family argument explode into something way deeper. Raw insecurity dressed up as defiance. King barked about standing on business, yelling it again and again, trying to sound like the man he wanted people to believe he was. But to millions watching, it didn't look like strength. It looked like a young man desperate to escape the shadow of his father. Desperate to be feared.
I don't know.
Not fathered. And that right there is why the gang leader's words cut so deep inside those walls. In prison, there's no camera crew, no PR team, no go live button to twist the story. It's pure survival, reputation, and instinct. When King stepped into that cold block for the first time, his last name carried weight. But his own name, it didn't mean a thing. According to insiders, it didn't take long before whispers started circling the pod. People could see it. The hesitation, the nervous glances, the fear hiding behind forced confidence. Word spread fast, and then came the story. The one told by a figure from Atlanta, Street World, with zero loyalty to the Harris name. This man painted a scene so detailed, so humiliating, it shook even the toughest inmates. They said King allegedly broke down when confronted, that the Prince of Trap folded under real pressure. The description was brutal, and the humiliation spread like wildfire, not just through the prison, but all across Atlanta. The streets were laughing, the blogs were eating it up, and suddenly, King Assy crash-out attitude didn't look like courage anymore. It looked like cosplay gone wrong.
Behind steel bars.
Yes, sir.
There's one in the head.
Does your buddy have one as well? All right, just hang tight right here
big
for
old
me. Let me
guns.
clear this. I don't want any accidental fires.
There's no safety. You got to take.
No safety.
And when that gang leader dropped the final word, that cold, cutting truth that stripped the illusion away, everything collapsed. The myth of King Harris, the tough street kid who stood on business, was gone. Up next, we dive straight into what was said, how it spread, and why King Harris is now walking a razor's edge between embarrassment and straight-up danger inside those walls. Because here is what most people don't understand about jail politics. Respect isn't given. It's taken. Inside prison walls, none of that outside shine matters. It's not about how many zeros sit in your bank account, how many designer chains you wear, or how many followers scream your name online, and it damn sure isn't about who your parents are. In those cold, fluorescent-lit cells, there's only one currency: respect. The second those doors close behind you, the only thing that counts is how you carry yourself when nobody was there to protect your image. And that's exactly where King Harris stumbled hard. The mask didn't just slip, it shattered. According to people close to the intake process, the same kid who strutted through social media acting invincible suddenly looked lost. No entourage, no camera, no flashy jewelry. Just a scared young man realizing that his father's fame couldn't buy him an ounce of credibility in a place built on survival. The swagger disappeared, and what was left was a harsh dose of reality. The contrast is all flooding the timeline. Clips of King yelling at his father. He went back to luxury cars, million-dollar studios, and designer chains. This story would still follow him like a shadow. In Atlanta's culture, where credibility is sacred and reputation is everything, being labeled scared in prison is a scar that never fades. It's not just a rumor, it's a brand. And now that brand doesn't only stain King, it stains his entire family name. It chips away at the image T.I. spent decades building. It hurts the family's public perception. And it even changes how the culture views every other celebrity kid trying to prove they real. Because King isn't the first to chase a struggle he never had. And he won to be the last. But his fall from grace is one of the most public, one of the most humiliating, and one of the most preventable we've ever seen. The saddest part? It all could have been avoided if someone around him had convinced him that authenticity doesn't come from pretending to be broken. It comes from knowing who you really are. And when you zoom out, this story becomes so much bigger than one family. It is a mirror held up to a disturbing trend in modern culture. The glorification of struggle by those who never had to live it. Kids born into wealth idolizing pain they never felt. Sons of kings pretending to be from the trenches. It's not street life, it's street cosplay. But in real life, pretending comes with consequences. Because the streets don't care about your followers. They don't care about your parents, your fame, or your past interviews. When the doors close and the lights flicker, all that matters is your heart. And for King Harris, that heart just got tested in the harshest way possible. And when the act finally collides with reality, like it did for King Harris, the results are absolutely devastating. The fantasy burns away, and what's left is the truth. Raw, uncomfortable, and impossible to hide. Even DJ Academics, in one of his many unfiltered rants, called this out with ruthless honesty. He mocked King for flashing his petty arrests like trophies, saying it was downright laughable for someone born into privilege to pretend he'd been hardened by the streets. But here's the crazy part. Those words weren't just commentary. They were prophecy, because that same obsession with proving himself, that same hunger to be feared instead of loved, led to humiliation, rebuild their brands, reinvent themselves, even turn scandal into success. But for King Harris, the mountain is steeper, the climb far more brutal. Because this wasn't some random misunderstanding or a bad rumor. Once the streets stop believing you, the cameras stop mattering, the clout fades, the follow.
They ain't said nothing about the boy being in jail or not. I mean, being released.
You know I stand on business. Why you even letting somebody play with me like that? Why you letting somebody play with me like that?
You already know that when you come to jail, everybody jealous of what you done had in your life.
Oh, he did wake up. Huh. They say he miraculously wakes up in the hospital after a brutal attack.
So what they say my warrant for?
So your warrant is for a failure to appear. Dispatch is gonna call in and make sure it's still valid.
Failure to appear where? I didn't have no court dates.
It's for DUI out of Pickens County.
Out of Pickens County?
32. Could you go and confirm that warrant?
The only DUI, I had a suspicion of a DUI a long time ago, and it was dismissed, so I don't know what they could be talking about.
The newest details about King Harris are darker than anyone expected. T.I.'s worst nightmare might be happening right before his eyes. And the wild part, he called it years ago. Back in 2022, the rap legend warned his son King Harris that if he didn't slow down, prison was waiting for him. 2 years later, those words feel less like advice and more like prophecy.
Man, Pickens County, I don't even know what Pickens County is. So I'm confused.
Sad part is, if you think your case is dismissed, make sure one thing about it, don't if and woulda, coulda, shoulda. I keep on clicking this over here. I'm gonna get out of here because there ain't nothing on here that's very interesting. Cardi begs. What's going on?
Cardi B goes nuts, cries after Stefon Diggs' major announcement. The announcement that shook Hollywood. It started as a normal afternoon for Cardi B. She was at her Los Angeles mansion, scrolling through her phone while her glam team prepared her for a new shoot. Suddenly, her assistant rushed into the room, pale-faced, holding an iPad. "Cardi, you need to see this," she whispered. On the screen was a live stream from Stefon Diggs' verified Instagram account. The Buffalo Bills star, known for his electric energy on the field and mysterious off-field life, was standing behind a podium. The backdrop read, "Major Life Update." Within seconds, over 1.3 million viewers had tuned in. Stefon took a deep breath and said, "I never thought I'd share this with the world, but it's time to be honest about everything, about who's really been in my life all along." Cardi's jaw dropped. Her phone buzzed non-stop. Her name was already trending on X, formerly Twitter. Broken Heart, the history everyone forgot. Cardi and Stefon had crossed paths multiple times before. Back in 2019, at a Rock Nation brunch, they were spotted laughing together, whispering between champagne glasses. Rumors swirled, but both denied anything romantic. Still, fans never stopped connecting the dots. Behind the scenes, though, they shared something more: long late-night phone calls, mutual encouragement, and, at one point, a real emotional connection that blurred the lines between friendship and something deeper. They drifted apart when Cardi reconciled with Offset. Stefon focused on football. But the feelings, those never fully disappeared. So when Stefon's announcement came, Cardi's heart raced. She whispered to her assistant, "Don't tell me he's about to." "Dove, I'm engaged." Stefon looked into the camera with a trembling smile and said the words that sent social media into meltdown. "I'm officially engaged, to the woman who stood by me when nobody else did." The crowd behind him clapped. A tall, stunning woman stepped beside him, holding his hand, a well-known sports reporter who had been quietly dating him for months.
Wow.
Her diamond ring glistened under the lights. Within minutes, hashtags like #StefonEngaged, #CardiBreact, and #OffsetTrend exploded online. Cardi's eyes filled with tears. Her glam team froze as she put her hands over her face and whispered, "He really did it." Loudly crying faced the emotional meltdown. Cardi tried to act tough. She laughed through her tears, saying, "Aight, cool."
That's a shame. That poor baby that she carrying is definitely gonna have ADHD allegedly. she popping, pop. What do you want to call it? Dancing and twerking and running around promoting that album now to get an emotional hit. Oh, poor baby. Poor baby. Oh my God. I like to see this baby's delivery. But you don't know if this stuff is true or not. But let's keep listening.
Cool. I'm happy for him. I am, but her voice cracked mid-sentence. Minutes later, she went live on Instagram. Over 250,000 fans tuned in. She didn't speak at first, just sat in silence, her long nails tapping on the glass table, tears streaming down her cheeks. Finally, she said, "Y'all ever feel like, you gave somebody your realest energy, and they just move on like it never mattered?" Her words were raw. Fans flooded the chat with heart emojis and comforting messages. "We love you, Cardi," they wrote. But she shook her head. "He said I was too wild, too much energy. But that's me. That's who I am."
Okay.
She wiped her face and ended the live abruptly, saying only, "I need to breathe." Cloud with Rain Offset's silent reaction.
Wow.
Meanwhile, Offset was reportedly in Miami for a show. Sources close to him said he was furious, not because of Stefan's announcement, but because of how emotional Cardi's reaction had been. He feels like she still cares, one insider revealed. He doesn't understand why she cried like that. Later that night, Cardi posted a cryptic Instagram story, a black screen with white text. "When you lose something real, no diamond can replace it." Fans immediately speculated that it was about Stefan. Blogs went wild. One headline read, "Cardi B breaks down over Stefan Diggs' engagement." Internet in chaos. High voltage the backstage clash.
This is crazy.
2 days later, Cardi showed up unexpectedly at an after-party in New York, the same one Stefan and his fiancée were rumored to attend.
Uh-oh.
Eyewitnesses say the atmosphere turned icy when Cardi walked in wearing a shimmering red dress that stole all the attention. "Everyone went silent," said one guest. "It was like watching two storms collide." Stefan reportedly approached her quietly. "You okay?" he asked. Cardi, her eyes red from crying, replied, "I'm proud of you. But you broke me in ways you'll never understand." Stefan looked stunned. His fiancée quickly stepped in, pulling him away. Cameras flashed everywhere. Within hours, paparazzi headlines screamed. Cardi confronts Stefan Diggs in New York, tears, drama, and heartbreak. Dizzy, the heartbeat of a woman scorned. Back home, Cardi turned her pain into power. She began working on a new song, rumored to be titled Incomplete Play. Leaks suggest it's one of her most emotional tracks ever, filled with lines like, "You caught the pass, but you dropped my heart. You scored a touchdown, but lost a real one." Producers close to her said she cried during the recording, calling it therapy. She wasn't rapping for fame this time, one insider said. She was rapping to heal. Fire social media explodes. Fans divided into camps, some sided with Cardi, saying she had every right to be emotional after what she'd shared with Stefan. Others claimed she was overreacting. Clips of her tearful live stream hit TikTok, gathering over 40 million views in 24 hours. One fan wrote, "You can tell she really loved that man. That wasn't just celebrity drama, that was real pain." Stefan, meanwhile, stayed silent, no posts, no responses. But paparazzi caught him looking visibly emotional after practice, his phone in hand, scrolling through Cardi's story. Rose the final message. A week later, Cardi posted one final message on X. "I'll always cheer for you, even if I'm not in the stands." The world fell silent. Even Stefan liked the tweet. Rumors swirled that he reached out privately, but neither side confirmed it. All fans know.
Let me tell you, he the type of dude that's gonna have his multiple women. If she allow him back in her life, he's going to be in it, okay? And if that's really his baby, he's in her life. I mean, they got to deal with the child. 18 years of that man, come on. That man gonna still be hitting it. I believe, allegedly, that he's still gonna be hitting it. I just don't believe that it's over. Yeah. You know, he's the type of guy that do that kind of bull crap that he pulled. You know, I don't even think he gonna marry the girl, but let's just see. I don't think he gonna marry nobody, to be honest with you.
Is that behind the glitz, the fame, and the endless cameras, there was something real, a love story that ended not with anger, but with heartbreak and bittersweet respect. Months later, at the Grammy Awards, Cardi performed Incomplete Play. Her voice cracked mid-song. The audience stood. Cameras panned to Stefan, sitting quietly in the crowd, tears welling in his eyes. And in that moment, under the blinding lights, everyone could see it. Love lost, but never forgotten. Title: Cardi B goes nuts, cries after Stefan Diggs' major announcement. It was a night that began like any other on social media, until Stefan Diggs dropped the kind of announcement that sent shockwaves across the entire internet. Within minutes, fans were flooding X, Instagram, and TikTok with one name trending above all others: Cardi B. Because after that announcement, the Grammy-winning rapper completely broke down, in front of millions. Collision: the announcement that shook the internet. Stefan Diggs, the Buffalo Bills star wide receiver known for his charm and mysterious dating life, went live on Instagram with over 250,000 viewers tuned in. He promised to set the record straight about something personal. No one knew what was coming next, until he paused, looked directly into the camera, and said, "I'm done hiding. I found peace, and I'm building a future with someone special." Then he revealed photos, intimate, affectionate, undeniable, of him with a woman no one expected, Cardi B's longtime friend and former stylist. The internet erupted. Within seconds, hashtags like #StefanDiggs, #CardiB, and #BartyMeltdown exploded across every platform. Fans couldn't believe what they were seeing, and neither could Cardi herself. Loudly crying face Cardi B's emotional breakdown. According to insiders close to her, Cardi was in total disbelief when she saw the live stream.
Wow.
She reportedly called her team into the studio, screaming and pacing as the images spread across the web. Moments later, she went live herself, visibly trembling, eyes swollen, her voice breaking. "You don't understand how much I've been there for that man, and for her too. I feel betrayed on both sides."
Of course.
She
Wow.
wiped her tears, trying to gather herself, but the pain was written all over her face. "This industry fake as hell," she continued. "People you feed, people you call family, they'll smile in your face while plotting behind your back."
Wow.
The live lasted only 6 minutes before she abruptly ended it, but it was enough.
Damn.
Fans had seen everything: the heartbreak, the fury, the raw emotion. Broken Heart: the hidden history between Cardi and Stefan. Rumors had long swirled that Cardi and Stefan had a private friendship dating back to 2022. They were spotted at several events together: the Met Gala afterparty, a private yacht event in Miami,
says he was
and an
too
exclusive Rock Nation brunch, but both always denied any romantic connection. However, sources close to them now claim that Cardi and Stefan had a brief fling during a rough patch in her marriage with Offset. Cardi and Stefan had chemistry, one insider said. But it was complicated: she still loved Offset. When things cooled off, they agreed to keep it private. But the feelings never completely disappeared. That's what made this announcement sting even more: it wasn't just betrayal, it was personal history resurfacing.
That's crazy.
Speaking head fans react:
Woo, you gotta
Cardi
watch
deserves
who you-
better. The online reaction was massive.
Cardi got to do some soul searching if this is real, because this betrayal. Wow. They say her stylist. Then her husband, he wasn't worth 2 cents, allegedly. You know what I do? I have my baby, raise my kids, and stay single. Yeah. No more babies. And not for nothing, she's got to heal from postpartum depression. People don't realize they had them babies back to back like that. That's a level of depression going on as well. And she's trying to stay high energy because she's doing a thing with her music, dropped her album. But I kind of feel for her. Y'all watch Cardi. Excuse me. Oh, excuse me. Hopefully Cardi's team watches her. Yeah, because that's a blow. You having baby behind baby. You never come up out of the postpartum depression. And then you get hit with the divorce. Now you get hit with some guy you feel like you're in love with. It's just your stylist that he's dating. If all of this is true, that's a lot for her to bear. Y'all keep Cardi in prayer. They put these stories together. They be some good stories if this is true, but I don't know. I don't think it's true, but who knows? Who knows? Who knows? Who knows? Let's see.
They said the truth would never come out. But tonight, the courtroom walls shook with it. Cardi B, the queen of candor and chaos, stood before a sea of flashing cameras, her voice trembling between fury and heartbreak. And when she whispered, "Playtime's over," every jaw in that room dropped moments later.
Stefon Diggs outraged after Cardi B drops F-bomb about their relationship, internet in shock. The internet nearly exploded overnight after a fiery social media rant from Cardi B sent shockwaves through the entertainment and sports world. It all started with what seemed like a normal live stream, but quickly turned into one of the wildest celebrity blow-ups of the year, leaving Buffalo Bills star Stefon Diggs absolutely furious and fans picking sides in a war of words that nobody saw coming.
Yeah, you can't
Tornado
believe
the
none of
spark
this
that
stuff.
started
This
it
is
all.
ridiculous.
It began late Sunday night when Cardi B went live on Instagram, sipping wine and venting to her millions of followers. At first, she was joking about paparazzi rumors linking her to some football dude, but things took a sharp turn when a fan asked directly, "Cardi, are you still seeing Stefon Diggs or what?" At first, she laughed it off, flipping her hair dramatically. But then she snapped, and dropped a bomb nobody expected. "Man, that. I'm not about to babysit no man who can't decide if he want the streets or a relationship. I'm Cardi B, I don't chase, I replace." Within seconds, clips of the live stream were all over X, formerly Twitter, TikTok, and YouTube. The F-bomb wasn't just a word, it was a declaration. And by morning, it had become the headline of every gossip blog in America. Firecracker Stefon Diggs responds, and he's furious. By sunrise, Stefon Diggs' name was trending worldwide, with thousands of fans tagging him and asking for a response. For hours, he stayed silent. But when he finally broke it, he didn't hold back. Diggs took to Instagram stories, posting a black screen with one line that instantly went viral. "A queen don't talk like that when she's hurt. She talk like that when she's guilty." The post was up for only 15 minutes before he deleted it, but by then, screenshots had already spread like wildfire. His message ignited speculation that Cardi's outburst might have been covering up something bigger, maybe
why
even
you don't have these relationships. Woo! In the public eye, man. Lord have mercy. You gotta figure out how to keep your stuff private. Another yawn. Time for me to end this. Let's see what's going on. Here's something in the last hour. Cardi B goes nuts, breaks up after Stefon Diggs. This one says,
even her own mistake. Broken heart behind the scenes, the real reason for the tension. Sources close to the pair told the Shade Room that the tension had been brewing for weeks. Apparently, Diggs had flown out to New York to spend time with Cardi after his game, but the two ended up in a heated argument about trust and loyalty. An insider revealed. Steph felt like she was keeping things too public. He's private, he doesn't like drama. But Cardi, she thrives in it. She wanted him to show her off, he wanted peace and quiet. That's where things started breaking. There were even reports that Cardi found messages from other women on Diggs' phone, but instead of confronting him privately, she decided to make a statement online, in true Cardi fashion. Mobile phone, the internet reacts, chaos, memes, and F-bomb gate. The internet had a field day. Within hours, the hashtag #FBombGate was trending, with memes of Cardi throwing imaginary grenades and Diggs dodging them like a football drill. One fan wrote, "Cardi dropped an F-bomb harder than Diggs drops defenders." Another added, "She said she don't chase, but she definitely tackled that man emotionally." Even celebrities chimed in. Megan Thee Stallion reportedly texted Cardi to calm down, while Odell Beckham Jr. liked one of Diggs' shady posts, sparking another mini scandal. High voltage, the fallout, Cardi's emotional confession. A few days later, Cardi returned to social media, this time more emotional than ever. Wearing no makeup and visibly tired, she went live again, saying, "I said what I said, but I ain't gonna lie. I was mad. I was hurt. When you care about somebody, it's not easy to just walk away. But I'm not gone, let nobody play me either." She didn't name Diggs directly, but everyone knew. Fans flooded the comments, begging her to forgive him or at least talk privately. One even breaking. Cardi B and Stefon Diggs finally set the record straight with massive announcement on relationship. The internet has officially gone into a meltdown, because after months of wild rumors, cryptic posts, and fan speculation, Cardi B and NFL star Stefon Diggs have finally broken their silence. The two have come forward with a jaw-dropping, emotional, and downright massive announcement that's left fans either screaming with joy or clutching their phones in disbelief. For weeks, fans noticed a pattern, subtle likes on each other's posts, mysterious song lyrics, and sightings that couldn't just be coincidences. From private jets to exclusive parties, Cardi and Stefon seemed to orbit around each other like magnets refusing to stay apart. But now, for the first time, they've spoken openly, and the truth behind their connection is more emotional, complex, and shocking than anyone ever imagined. Collision, the build-up, rumors turned into a media firestorm. It all began when Cardi B was spotted at one of Stefon Diggs' NFL games late last season, wearing a Buffalo Bills jacket that fans quickly recognized wasn't part of her usual wardrobe. That single appearance sparked headlines across entertainment blogs, "Is Cardi B dating Stefon Diggs?" Then, a few weeks later, Diggs posted a late-night Instagram story with the caption, "Some people match your energy in ways the world can't understand." Fans immediately flooded the comments with red hearts and microphone emojis, convinced it was a subtle nod to Cardi, the queen of energy herself. Meanwhile, Cardi B wasn't making things any easier for curious fans. During a fiery Instagram live, when a follower asked about her NFL man, Cardi smirked, sipped her drink,
What's good, you guys? It's your girl Cutie, and together we make the Pink File, this amazing, beautiful channel. Thank you guys for your support. Make sure you please sit up there and subscribe.
It started like any other glamorous night in Hollywood, the flashing lights, the red carpet smiles, and Cardi B walking hand in hand with her boyfriend, NFL star Stefon Diggs, turning heads with their bold chemistry and infectious energy. For months, fans had admired their undeniable bond, a mix of Cardi's fiery personality and Stefon's calm confidence. They seemed unstoppable, until one unbelievable secret tore everything apart. The calm before the storm. Just days before the drama exploded, Cardi B had posted a giddy video on Instagram, laughing and dancing with her best friend, Layla, a woman she'd known since her early Bronx days. Layla had always been part of Cardi's inner circle, a sister-like figure who'd stood beside her through the ups and downs of fame, heartbreak, and motherhood. Fans adored their friendship. But behind that smiling sisterhood was a secret that would soon detonate across the internet. Stefon Diggs, known for his charming personality and rising stardom in the NFL, had allegedly been spending more time in LA than usual. Cardi thought he was working on endorsement deals and training sessions. But rumors started swirling that Stefon was too close to someone in Cardi's team, and no one imagined it would be Layla. The shocking discovery. According to sources close to the couple, Cardi began noticing small changes in Diggs' behavior, muted phone calls, late-night meetings, and random trips that didn't add up. She reportedly brushed it off, focusing on her music comeback and a major fashion collaboration. But everything changed when Layla suddenly disappeared from Cardi's circle. Weeks later, gossip blogs started buzzing with whispers that Layla was pregnant, and that the father might be someone very close to Cardi. At first, Cardi didn't believe it. She dismissed it as another internet rumor. But the truth came crashing down. During an emotional night in her home, when she reportedly found messages between Stefon and Layla hidden in his phone. The messages were explicit, romantic, and undeniable. They talked about their future, their secret, and even hinted at the pregnancy. Cardi allegedly froze. Her heart stopped. The same man she'd been planning a future with, the same man she defended online, had betrayed her in the most humiliating way possible. The explosion. Cardi didn't hold back. Witnesses say she went ballistic, screaming, crying, and throwing objects across the room. She felt double betrayed, a source told Hollywood Unlocked. It wasn't just her man, it was her best friend. The woman who knew all her secrets, who held her baby, who she trusted. Within hours, Cardi unfollowed both Stefon and Layla on Instagram and deleted all photos of them together. Fans noticed immediately. Twitter and TikTok exploded with speculation, memes, and shocked reactions. Hashtags like #CardiBreaksUp, #StefonScandal, and #LaylaBetrayal began trending worldwide. In one viral video, Cardi appeared visibly emotional during an Instagram live, saying through tears. Cardi B melts in tears after Steph Diggs' $100 million engagement surprise. The night began like any other, a shimmering evening in Los Angeles, where stars filled both the sky and the red carpet. The air buzzed with anticipation as some of the biggest names in music, sports, and entertainment gathered for the annual Legends and Love Gala, a high-profile charity event known for its glamorous surprises and emotional moments. But no one, not even the event organizers, could have predicted the shock, tears, and viral explosion that would unfold when Buffalo Bills superstar Stefon Diggs dropped a $100 million engagement surprise on none other than Cardi B. Gemstone Chapter 1, the rumors that started it all. For months, whispers had filled social media that Cardi B and Offset were officially done. After years of ups and downs, cheating rumors, public
What if I told you that Jaguar Wright just did it again, but this time, she didn't just spill tea, she detonated a bomb. Yep. The woman who built a career exposing industry secrets. Ladies and gentlemen, grab your popcorn and clutch your pearls, because what's coming out of Atlanta tonight isn't just
The internet thought the chaos was finally over, until King Harris hit upload. Within seconds, a hidden truth exploded across every screen in America. A grainy video time-stamped, uncut, undeniable showed something no one ever. Breaking news that's shaking Hollywood tonight. Shekinah, one of the most talked about reality stars, has just revealed something that has everyone talking. She's pregnant. And the father? None other than rap legend T. Yes, you heard that right. The whisper.
If Tiny would,
The whisper.
if Tiny would pay that hoe some attention, she wouldn't be even into it right now with Tia. She's looking for fucking attention.
What up? Now, whether he fight to get up out of it, that's a different story because it's.
How long my mic been out? Couldn't have been out too long. So that lasted like 2 hours. But like I said, David, we pray for the truth to come out in that situation. Tiny and her son, I hope, King's son, I don't know what they call him, but I hope he is recovering well from the incident in jail. Cardi, that's my girl. I really like me some Cardi. Not really a fan because I don't do the music like that, but I just like her. I like her hustle and I like her style. She's a homegirl. We from the same neck of the woods, if you will. But Cardi, somebody need to tell Cardi after this baby take some time for herself so that she could heal. And that postpartum depression stuff is real, and I know she ain't gonna do too much slowing it down, but she really need to take some time for herself. And kudos to her. Hopefully her and her relationship with her guy, it is what it is. He's a sports guy. Those athletes think they all of that in a bag of chips, and they normally, allegedly, a lot of them are promiscuous, if you will. So, with that being said, this was Friday Night Reactions with me falling asleep, fighting to stay woke. Oh boy.
Praise God.
That part. This video gonna be a blooper video. I'm gonna pull the parts where I've been falling asleep and fighting to stay woke. But guess what, you guys? You was tuning into your girl Jazzy. This was episode 34, Friday Night Reactions. And I'll make sure I'm well rested next Friday. Stay tuned to the next time and be blessed.
Yeah. Drill me. You gotta choose your side. You gotta choose your side. It's do or die. I said it's do or die. I said it's conflict in all areas, nigga. You choose the side. You could win or you could lose, nigga. It's do or die. Energy don't lie, it just testify. For what they saying, I just look them deep into their eyes. Going against the God in me. Now that's...
Remember, you are worthy of infinite abundance. You have a beacon of confidence and success. You deserve happiness. And everything you desire, it is flowing to you now. See you Sunday.
Yeah. Drill me. You gotta choose your side. You gotta choose your side. It's do or die. I said it's do or die. I said it's conflict in all areas, nigga. You choose the side. You could win or you could lose, nigga. It's do or die. Energy don't lie, it just testify. For what they saying, I just look them deep into their eyes. Going against the God in me. Now that's suicide. Higher self, higher level, higher wealth. To move like this, you gotta put your pride up on yourself. They say money is power, but knowledge way stronger.
What you say is true. The Shaolin and the Wu-Tang could be dangerous. Do you think you're Wu-Tang meat?
Pure gold, so I live way longer. My mind think righteous, yeah, my bloodline chosen. My energy is positive, words unspoken, I'm so illuminated. I shine brighter than Illuminati. Walking on water, now they really know I'm God body. Gifted from birth, so the life I face is hard body. Had so much love in my heart, they had to apply pressure. Now I'm a fine diamond, yeah. Said I'm a fine diamond,
And the Wu-Tang sword style.
No matter how hard they try, I find myself in divine timing. Now they follow what I say like my name Simon. Led the chosen ones to victory in divine timing. The time is near, the signs are clear. 144, activation is here. We rise in the vibration with no fear. Oh, the Thundercats we all hear. And now it just don't seem fair. It just don't seem fair.